A very beautiful morning to you all, fans of Manchester United. If you're a fan of any other football club, well, good morning to you as well. Thank you for tuning in. This is another episode of Blaze Talks Man United. Um, Again, I think it's been a very drought-like week. Like it's been so dry. Like on the football pitch for Manchester United, we haven't played a game in days. But then again, Manchester United is the only club in the world where, regardless of how little we play football, we will still be on top of the news. We will still be the one thing the media would have no food because of, like, regardless, like, if Manchester United were not in the picture, would they have to talk about us? And it's something, as a Man United fan, you need to make peace with, because we are the bread and butter of the media. If there's any other club that has not played football in 2 weeks, there will not be on in the media like Manchester United have. But again, like I said, it's the life of a Manchester United fan. We had to, get used to it. We're being linked with everyone. If you've put on a football boot before, if you've played even semi-professional football, for some reason, Man United are going to be linked with you. That's the way it is, and we have to make peace with that. But yeah, I think it's been a bit dry. I don't want to experience things like this again. I don't want to be able to stay 2 weeks without watching Manchester United, except it's an international break. Except it's an international break, or like an international trophy is going on. Aside that, I don't want to have to stay 2 weeks. Man United fans do not deserve that. We deserve to be playing football actively week in, week out. That's what the players are paid for. So you can't really expect them to be, on holiday on a 2 week break while the season is going on. Shouldn't be. It's not right. But then again, we should be talking about one of the most active topics on everyone's lips, which is the Man United job, the Man United managerial role. In hindsight, has to be. It's not even in hindsight. It has to be one of the most difficult jobs in the world. I can be very bold with you and tell you that the Man United job might be more, stressful than managing than being the president of most countries, than running most countries in the world, or some countries in the world. I wouldn't say most. Some countries in the world, the expectations are sometimes criminal. We need to understand that we're not there. We're not where we used to be, and that expectation sometimes can be, can weigh in into our, like, logical. It can derail our logical thinking, and we still think we're back in the days. We're not there anymore, and that's the way life is. We have to make peace with that. So yeah, the Man United job is a very difficult job, and sometimes we wonder why managers even, why. I think people wondered why someone like Amarim would even take the job in the first place. But we have to be honest. The allure alone of being a Manchester United manager, the allure of having that on your CV, it's crazy. That allure. I think it's so tempting that these managers would skip every other team, to come to Manchester United. And there's also that temptation of being the person that brings Manchester United back to their good ways, back to the old days, back to winning ways. That alone can make these managers ignore other top football clubs to come to Manchester United. But then again, this job is open again for maybe the 10th time in about 13 years. The job is open again, and we're talking about who is the best person to replace someone who hasn't obviously done a good job. There have been names in the media. Recently, people are reporting that De Zerbi is all of a sudden keen to join Man United. For De Zerbi, for me, this is a personal opinion. I don't know how you feel. I would say a no. I'd say a massive no to Roberto De Zerbi, because if you do not like Amorim, you're definitely gonna hate De Zerbi. If you do not like the way Amorim did things at Man United, you would not like De Zerbi. For being honest, the two of them are they're like tit for tat. They're the personality, the authoritarian nature, the fact that they want to change football, by applying a system of football. The only thing I think, if we were talking about when De Zerbi left Brighton, if you ask me then, would I take De Zerbi at Man United? I would say yes. Because I respected his approach. I respected the fact that even if he didn't do so much with Brighton, even if he didn't take them to Europe, did he take them to Europe? I don't think so. But even if he didn't take them to Europe, I respected the fact that he played football. He played a fearless, style of football. He played the way he played football. I would term it as quite similar to the Real Madrid when Zinedine Zidane was the manager. I think he came with a view of, I don't care who you are, I'm gonna come out and play football. win or lose. If you score, I'm going to score. Brighton were scoring a lot of goals in those games because they were coming out to play football. So I respected that. But seeing him at Olympic Marseille, seeing his man management, seeing the way that he's gone about football, seeing the type of person that I think he might be, because this is all media perception. We don't know, we cannot 100% know who someone can be. But then media perception, if that is the way the man is, I don't want him at Manchester United. Manchester United is an unstable club at the moment, and bringing someone who is like a keg of gunpowder about to explode is not going to do us any good, regardless of how good he is. So, who might you think is my option? Again, if names like Luis Enrique and Julian Nagelsmann are on the table, then they're not bad picks. To be very honest, I'm going to be very honest with you. They're not bad picks. They're not bad names to consider. On the contrary, I'll tell you that Luis Enrique might be the only manager right now, to have the CV to suit this Manchester United job. But can I be honest? I don't think we should be just looking at CVs. I think a lot should factor in because we've had we've had. I think I mentioned how much we had spent laying off managers in the past, nearing 80 to 100 million since Alex Ferguson. It's nearing that. So I think it speaks a lot to the type of people that we've picked. We've looked at CV, we've looked at promise. Oh, this person has potential. This person has not. No, I think we need to look at more than one quality at the same time. CV, fine and good. It can be important because it shows previous experience and what you've done. That's one. We should look at you know background, history, personality, opinions. How do you like? What type of football do you adapt to? The style of play, and I think Enrique is a very good manager. But Enrique Nagelsmann, very good manager. To be honest, I don't want anything to do with Glasner, Raola, all these other managers, Emery, all these guys. Not that they're gonna take the job, but then I'm just saying that I don't want anything to do with those people. The option of Nagelsmann and Enrique sounds very enticing because I heard that Enrique doesn't want to sign a new deal at PSG. I heard he's looking for a new challenge. Excuse me. Which Man United is more than enough challenge for anyone like that. And if Enrique decides today to come to Manchester United, I'll take it. But I think Enrique represents short time success. Short time, if success is even involved, because that Man United job has shown that it can break anybody. Anybody, it would look have you looking like a crackhead in a space of 3 years. So even if success is there, it would be a short time success. We need somebody again that would come and commit to Manchester United as a club. Commit, trust the fans, trust the management, trust himself, and trust the team generally. I don't think Enrique is that man. Could be Nagelsmann, but in all honesty, my number one pick for this job would be Michael Carrick. Why? I know, I understand that would be a crazy, crazy, crazy opinion. I completely understand that. I understand that is a very crazy opinion to have, but hear me out. Hear me out. I'm going to use two case studies, for example. I'm going to use the Pep Guardiola. When Pep Guardiola started managing Barcelona, remember Pep Guardiola was Barcelona B manager. He was the manager of Barcelona B. Nobody knew him. Nobody knew Pep Guardiola at the time. Jose Mourinho had already done wonders with Porto, I think. In the league, in the Champions League, he had done wonders, So, hence, when Rijkaard was leaving, when Barcelona job was open, the option for Barcelona were two people, Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola. And, to be honest, in a way, it was a no-brainer because with Jose Mourinho even has history with Barcelona. He had been a staff at the club. He had been a translator. He had worked with Van Gaal. He had been at the club, so he understood the club at the time. So it was a no-brainer because most people thought Jose Mourinho was going to be hired. But then, in essence, they chose Pep Guardiola. They chose one of their own, which infuriated Jose Mourinho. But then, to be honest, that gave rise to the Pep Guardiola that we see today. Without that trust, there would be no Pep Guardiola as we know it because that was his base. That was the standard. He had that super team because I would believe that if he went somewhere else, it would not be the same. This had to go this way for Pep Guardiola to be who exactly he is at the moment. So I think that trusting one of their own is what brought Pep Guardiola this far, and he paid them dividends, and he's paying Man City dividends till now. We can use Arteta as an example. We all knew Arteta as Pep's assistant before he took the Arsenal job. Before Arsenal trusted one of their own and gave him the job. So I know we've had that in the past with Ole and stuff like that, but I really have a different feeling about Carrick. And not because of his recent performance. That counts in a way. But I feel like this man understands this football club. His man management, everyone has said that his man management has been impressive. He hasn't managed me yet, so I can't really tell you, give you a first hand opinion. But everyone has said that this man's man management is incredible. His style of play needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of work, But I think that if there's anyone that understands this football club, if there's anyone that would take charge of this football club and treat it like his own baby, it'd be Michael. It'd be Michael Carrick. So, to be honest, I know that the evidence isn't much to support me wanting Michael Carrick for the job, but that's who I want. Again, if we had an Enrique or Negosman, I would still take it. I think they're still great managers. I think they're still incredible managers. But who would I want? Who would sustain Manchester United? Who would the fans look at when things don't go very well and say, okay, yeah, fine, I understand. He's one of our own. He didn't do this right, but I feel like he's gonna do better. It's Carrick. Who understands the club in and out? It's Carrick. Who has played for the football club before? It's Carrick. So I don't know. Like I said, the evidence might not be much. He's an underdog in this. You know the evidence to support. I mean, aside the fact that he's done a very good job so far, it hasn't been so much. So, but yeah, my pick for the Man United job in the long run will be Michael Carrick. Again, I know it's not much of an argument, but yeah, that is who I want. That is who I want for the job. And if they give it to him, fine. But if they choose someone like uh, uh, Nagelsmann or Enrique, great. I'll take it. But no Deserbi, no Iraola, no Glasner, no Emery, nobody like that. I don't think they have what it takes to manage a club like Manchester United. And I know that you agree with me too. So yeah, let's see who they bring. Let's see how the tables turn. Either way, let's uh let's hope and see. Hopefully they do the right thing. Not that we know what the right thing is now, but either way, we'll see. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.